back to the kitchen. It's February. It's still cold outside, but we're warm here in the kitchen, and we're gonna make a really warming, wonderful, kind of chocolatey, but a little bit healthier dessert. And it's gonna be great for giving to all your Valentines this month, or just for any old time you want a great dessert or treat. We're gonna be making blondies, but not just any kind of blondies. These are gonna be good for people who are gluten-free, which means they don't eat wheat, or people who are looking for something with a little bit more natural ingredients. And we are going to be substituting that wheat flour with something that probably most people have in their pantry, and that is chickpeas, which I have right here. So yes, they're beans, but believe me when I tell you, these blondies are not gonna taste like beans. They're gonna taste like the sweetest treat you've ever had. So for anybody who doesn't know what a blondie is kind of like a brownie, but it's not chocolate. So it's almost like chocolate chip cookie bars. Really good. We're gonna start by doing two things. The first thing is having your oven preheated. So kids, you might need to get an adult to help you with this. I've got my oven preheated to 350 degrees. So it is going to be ready for us. The second thing is I am going to use a square pan, 8x8 or 9x9, and I'm going to spray it with a little bit of cooking spray so we have no stickage. Now normally I would do this over by the sink to minimize any spray going everywhere, but I just wanted you to see, very simple. I'm going to kind of sit this aside until we're ready for it. Okay, so I have my chickpeas. This is one 15-ounce can of chickpeas, which I've opened up, poured in the colander, drained it, and rinsed it real well with water. We do that to get rid of a lot of the salt that might be kind of clinging to them because they're salted when they put them in the cans. So you'll have to drain and rinse your chickpeas and have them ready for you. One of the things I like about this recipe a lot is that you don't have a lot of bowls. It's all made right in your food processor. So that's what I have here. And kids, again, this is something you probably need an adult to help you with. It does have a very sharp blade inside, so please be careful, but food processor makes short order of this. It's gonna be really quick and simple. Okay, so basically this is kind of just a dump and mix. I'm gonna start with my chickpeas. I want to make sure I don't forget any of my ingredients. Now my chickpeas were drained really well. You don't want to have a lot of water that goes in here with this. So make sure you give them a good shake and maybe even let them sit for a few minutes just so all of that water can drain out. All right, chickpeas in. Second thing is going to be peanut butter. I'm using peanut butter, an all-natural brand. Please feel free, if you can't use peanut butter, you have an allergy, any kind of nut butter or seed butter will work. So almond butter, cashew butter, sun nut butter, which is made from sunflower seeds, all acceptable. This is really going to help bind things up. Gives it a nice flavor too. So let's see, I need a half a cup. I'm going to grab a spoon here and see if I can get this in there. This might take a while. And it's going to be just a little bit messy. This spoon is a little small, so let's see. I'm going to switch to my spatula and see if that will help. The chickpeas are very high in protein, and the peanut butter also lends a lot of protein. So you're really getting a double whammy of protein in these blondies. I don't know how many baked goods you can say are protein-packed powerhouses, but this would be one of them, and I'm not having much success with my spatula. So let's try this. I think I'm going from utensil to utensil today. I always have my purple spoonula. It's kind of a cross between a spatula and a spoon. Yeah, there we go. Digging out a lot. You want to make sure that your measuring cup is pretty well packed, right? Because we want to get all of that good flavor in. All right, and voila, half a cup of peanut butter. I'm going to grab a towel because my hands are getting just a little messy here. So I just keep my towels right where I'm cooking. It's a good tip for you guys. All right. Let's get this peanut butter out of the cup and into our food processor. Like I said, it's just ingredient after ingredient dumped right in. I make this with almond butter a lot, but I was kind of in the mood for peanut butter today. So that's what I'm going with. And I did try to stress that all natural brand. You want to make sure you don't have one that has hydrogenated oils in it and or any kind of like corn syrup or artificial sweeteners or something more natural. Okay, peanut butter in. Third ingredient, we're going to use our sweetener. You can use honey, maple syrup, or any kind of agave nectar. What we're definitely looking to do here is not use white table sugar. Okay, so I'm going to go with maple syrup because I just love the flavor. And we need 1/3 of a cup. I believe, yes, 1/3 of a cup. So let's see, 1/3 of a cup would be about 3 ounces. So I'm going to go my measuring cup here. I'm going to measure out 3 ounces because I don't have cup measures on my little drinking glass looking measuring cup, but I just love. But that's math too. Cooking's loaded with math and science if you didn't know. So 1/4 of a cup is 2 ounces, 1/2 a cup is 4 ounces, 1/3 falls kind of right in the middle, so we're going to go with about 3 ounces. If you like it just a little bit less sweet, you could put a little less. If you like it just a tad sweeter, you could put a little more. But 3 ounces, 1/3 of a cup would be perfect. All right, so much for our sweetener, all done. Okay, vanilla. Vanilla extract is going to give a lot of flavor. We need 2 teaspoons of that, so we're really going to make this rich in flavor. I think I can cap up my peanut butter too, right? We're done with that. Let's get this out of the way. Okay, vanilla. 1, 2. Okay, very simple. Next is going to be salt. We do need to add salt to our baked goods, and if you've watched me cook before, you probably know that. I've always said it. It's basically like seasoning your baked good. Same concept as seasoning your savory food. It helps all the flavors melt together and taste really good. It doesn't taste salty. So 1/2 teaspoon, so it's not very much. Right? I've got my salt, and in it goes. I think chocolate and salt go together really well. The whole chocolate chip cookie taste goes really well. That's salt with saltiness. So I think you'll really like that flavor in here. All right, now we're going to use our leavening. Our leavening means what we're going to put in to make it rise. They're still a baked good, so let's face it, we need to give them a little heft, especially since we're not using any flour. So we're going to use 2. We're going to use baking soda. We're going to start with that, and that's 1/4 teaspoon. So it's very simple to measure it out. Dump that in. And also baking powder. Baking soda and baking powder, basically the difference is they work with different ingredients. So for example, baking soda works with acidic ingredients. That means acid. So anything like buttermilk, if you're using that, would be something you'd use for baking soda, or if you've got, I don't know, lemon juice in something. And baking powder would just be, when you're just using regular, like a less acidic. But they work well together, and they're going to work differently. So it's going to give us good rise. And that was another 1/4 teaspoon, so equal amounts of each. Okay, we are up to our egg. We are going to use a binder. It's going to be an egg. If you wanted to make this completely vegan, then by all means you can do egg substitute, which is basically, in what I like to use, is a flax egg, which is flaxseed mixed with water. It's on the recipe if you're following along. So you could do that and then make this completely vegan, so not only gluten-free with no flour, but also vegan with no animal products. But I'm going to just maybe crack my egg. There it goes. Right in. Perfect. And I'm going to throw this out because I want this eggshell away. Guys, once you've cracked your egg, you should wash your hands. I'm going to just give it a quick wipe off because I don't want to have to go to my sink and be off your shot. But if you're at home, please wash your hands after touching a raw egg. It's definitely a kitchen hygiene rule. All right, we are down to the last ingredients, which is chocolate chips. Actually, I think we're going to hold off on the chocolate chips. We're going to make this into a batter and then add our chocolate chips. So as I said, this is done in the food processor. I'm going to put my lid on, and I'm going to come over here to my processor. Oops, a little bit of a problem here. Got to fix my blade. So I'm going to get that on, locked, blade in. So if you do this while you're at your food processor, it might work just a little bit easier. But no worries, just fit that blade right in there. Okay, and here comes the fun part and the noisy part. We're going to whirl it up to create our blondie batter. All right, you ready? Here it goes. Okay, so this is going to only take maybe a minute or two. I'm just going to scream over my food processor. If you don't have a food processor, you could try this in your blender. You might have to push it down and scrape it a couple times, but you can get the same result. So I think I'm done. All right, now, I don't know if anybody, you probably can't see it from that far, but I'm going to show you guys. I'm going to take it off. And, you know what? I see a couple of chickpeas that got stuck on the side back here, but you can see how creamy that is. I'm just going to push that down and whirl them in for just a moment. What we don't want are whole chickpeas in this, okay? Let's see if we can get this on again. All right, good. Whole chickpeas would be the thing we don't want to do. We want to have everything mixed together. Let's give this another couple seconds. I can see that chickpea in there. And I think we are ready. All right. Off it comes. Now, I said we were going to hold off on the chocolate chips. What I'm going to do is I'm going to reserve, let's see, where am I going to put them? What do I have here that I can put them in? Now I'm just going to take my little bowl here. I just want to hold out a couple tablespoons of chocolate chips because we're going to use them as a topping on these once we get it into the pan. Other than that, we're going to measure out 1/3 of a cup. Let's see, I had 1/3 of a cup sitting out here. At least I thought I did. All right, that's my 1/2 cup, so that's fine. 1/3 of a cup's a little less than half. I'm going to measure out about 1/3 of a cup. Just going to get my chocolate chips, drop them in here till it's about halfway full, which looks good. This is not a lot. Okay, so we're kind of going for moderation, a little bit appropriate, but still getting that good chocolate taste. If you feel like you would like more chocolate chips, you can dump in more chocolate chips. It is totally fine. All right, we're going to start by taking out the blade. So this is an adult thing. I'm going to use my spatula just to scrape off any of this batter back into the pan as we want to make sure it's all there. Right, we want it all ready to be baked into our blondies. All right, this can go in that, and I'm going to wipe my hands again. All right, let's give it a good mix. I'm being careful not to slosh things around too much. Don't want it coming out. All right, chocolate chips, you need to go in. Okay, it's looking good. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to fold these in gently. Folding is a technique where we kind of scoop down and around. So you're kind of twisting. So I'm going to show you. You can see my arm, my hand, it's just twisting around. So I'm kind of just gently moving it about, up and over. Okay, that's it. Blondie batter made. So exciting. Okay, pan that we prepared earlier, we don't need to flour it, we just need to spray it so that it will not stick. Okay, in it goes. I'm just going to help this along into my pan. And I usually like to use a spatula for this because that way I can make sure I scrape everything out of the food processor bowl. And as I said, if all you have is a blender at home, try it in the blender, okay? You do need something that's going to really pulverize those chickpeas. I mean, if you have a piece in there, I don't think would not ruin it for me. But I don't think that in general people like to see those big pieces of bean in their baked goods. That's the only reason. It will still bake up fine. That's not the issue. It's just a textural thing. Texture meaning the feel of it, right? We don't want it chunky. We want it smooth. That's the goal here. And I think I'm pretty much to the end. Okay, that's good. All right, let's set this aside. Perfect. I will have to smooth this around, okay? And it moves perfectly. It will look rather thin, just like if you've ever baked brownies, you've probably noticed that. When you put the brownie batter in the pan, it's very thin. It will puff up somewhat, right? Brownies and blondies are similar, and they're not the kind of things that are, you know, super high like a cake, right? So they bake up a little bit lower, like a bar cookie. That's basically what it is. But this is a much healthier version. I can't tell you how much you've upped the protein, nutritional value of this. And I like using the maple syrup and not the white sugar for this because maple syrup actually has a few nutrients in it. So, you know, you've got something that's a little bit more healthy than plain white sugar. It's good to take a break from that and sub in some other alternatives. Okay, I've got that all in there. So the final step, now I've got batter on me. The final step is we're gonna put some chocolate chips, the ones that I reserved here. I'm going to, oops, get that out of the way. I'm going to sprinkle them kind of on top. You can see that I'm sprinkling that, right? And it's only 2 tablespoons. Feel free to add a little more if you'd like. I'm using plain old regular semi-sweet chocolate today. Dark chocolate would be an excellent choice for this. It definitely is the healthiest of the chocolates, right? Chocolate has antioxidants in it, which our body needs to stay healthy. So a little bit of chocolate can be a good thing. So if you have dark chocolate, feel free to use it. Honestly, if you like some dried fruit in here, you could throw in some dried fruit instead or as a combo. Nuts would be perfect. Some walnuts in this I think would be great, or pecans, whatever you like. So I'm just gently poking them in, as you can see, because I want them to kind of stick. All right, time to put them in the oven. So kids, again, this might be something you need some help from your adult helper, parent. They're gonna go right in my 350 degrees preheated oven. So you wanna make sure that it's fully preheated and up to 350 degrees. So they're gonna cook for about 20 minutes, okay? And you'll know they're done when you put a toothpick in the center and it comes out clean. And I'm gonna show you that in a little bit. So at this point, what I need to do is wait for my chickpea blondies to come out of the oven. I'm going to show you what they're like, how to serve them, clean up my mess, and I'm going to see you guys back here in just a few minutes. Stay tuned. I hope yours are in the oven too.